This week I had planned on doing regular vlogs just about political stuff, and what I thought I would hit up is the first thing that came to my mind is peekaboo racism. The idea that right now the Republican Party has a standard bearer that is pretty much agreed upon. His racism shows. Most Republicans are much more refined with their racism, and the big deal with him is that, well, you gotta calm it down. It's like peekaboo. That's what I planned on doing. You play peekaboo with a child that has no sense of object permanence. What Republicans are asking their new standard bearer to do is to be more gentle, more professional in his disdain towards people of color. What I wanted to say about that more than anything else is that grown folks have a sense of object permanence. And I really have to wonder if the target audience for this revamped and kinder racism, is it decent white folks who haven't paid attention, or is it for self-hating minorities that want to vote for somebody that is vile and hateful as he is? One statement that I think should be made plainer, more obvious, is that this country is not great because of Christianity. This country is great and free because of secularism. There is not a big difference between the way traditional Muslims or Christians view gay people. Both books say kill them. We have the benefit of living in a secular nation. And this is why we can actually pick and choose the fun parts of any religion that we want. Our secular nation is right now threatened by rebranded hatred called religious freedom. We have to push back against so-called religious freedom laws because they are literally a gateway into a form of Sharia law, whether or not that is of a Christian or an Islamic origin. Laws, I don't care what Semitic religion it is, all of these laws are backwards, cruel, and are not what would make any country great. And that's one thing that I really wanted to drill down on. But before I could even get started with that, I heard the terrible news about Orlando, Florida. And I had already gone to Pride. It's an annual pilgrimage that my partner and I of 27 years make. I had no intention of going back, but after the news in Florida, I had to do that. Even hearing the news out of Santa Monica did not stop us from wanting to go, because it's fortunate that the attack out of Santa Monica didn't happen. But if it had, we might be talking about Christian extremism and Islamic extremism. And you see these Christian extremists marching up and down the street saying that their version of a fairy tale is what America should subscribe to. I was very angry with that. I confronted them. As usual, they were cowards. As usual, they could not stand on their own. As usual, they wanted me to go into their circular reasoning, and it is a disservice to our country, and if I make it more personal, to black folks in this country who probably need more than most folks to work together in some constructive manner to actually assume that our best good is in an ancient myth that is from the other side of the world that has nothing to do with us. It's so insulting. We really need to get the fuck over it. Then another thing hit me, even in this midst of national tragedy. I listened to a certain newscaster, a news program that's hosted primarily by white supremacists, and we know who they are. Yeah. So this white supremacist newscaster always gives red meat to a white supremacist base that is their target audience, and he typically refers to our President Obama as Mr. Obama. That is so that he can show his disdain, which I believe is in part racial, his animus towards this president, although this president has been elected twice. How does this all tie together? There's hate that we are used to, and there's hate that we are less used to, that we see better. We see the hatred out of Islam towards gays and other people that are not Muslim. We can see that and say, aha, that's hate. We can pretend that Christianity doesn't have that hate because we are in a secular nation. Christianity is no more advanced than Islam. They are both backwards, barbaric, and are not what any country needs. But we can pretend that Christianity is good because we're not run by Christians. We can pretend that a white supremacist newscaster who calls our president Mr. his last name is something less than a racist because it's the hate that we are become accustomed to. And why am I saying all this? It's really important. I cannot join with one sort of hate to combat another one. I cannot join with a person who has one particular fairy tale about their imaginary guy up in the sky who changes the world on their behalf versus another guy's particular fairy tale. It's all BS, and that's the best thing you can say about it. And if we're going to move forward together, it's not going to be through these fairy tales. Secularism has been a light to the world. Secularism, secular thought, and the scientific approach has been the light to the world. Right now in this country, that approach is under attack because there's people who say that our particular fantasies or delusion should be moved to the front or respected more than others. I disagree. So, what do you think? Is there a difference between the Christian hatred and Muslim hatred? I don't think so. Not when it's applied, but you can disagree. Is secularism truly the light of the world? Not Jeebus, but secularism. And I guess that's about it right now. I really wanted to have more fun with peekaboo, where'd that racism go, as if that would work. But this has been a fucked up week. More fucked up for a lot more people than me. But we have to recognize what the true root is. And those are ancient fairy tales. I don't care what book it comes from.